it's Carolyn Willman, the Contest Queen, and this is a Good Vibes chat. So this is a special chat that I host in the Good Vibration Sweepstakes Club, and this is all about vibration. So I do Q&As and different types of videos on my Contest Queen channel, but this one is just about vibration. So anything to do with positive thinking, anything to help raise your vibration, like meditation and yoga, anything to help you get a better mindset, anything, a lot of people would label it woo-woo, like numerology, astrology, crystals, angels, fairies, you name it, the gamut. We can talk about it here because that's what this club's about. So this week we are going to talk about Helene Hadsell, and the reason I chose Helene Hadsell for this episode was because I get a lot of questions about Helene. It is a chat, so post comments. We'll talk back and forth. So Nurka says hi. Hi, Nurka. And anyone's allowed to ask any types of questions. If I, say something and it's not clear, or you have a question about something, or you've heard of something, pipe up. And let me go back to what I was saying, is that I chose to talk about Helene Hadsell because I've had a lot of questions about her. So I don't even know when I heard about her. But at some point, if you're doing any kind of Googling on contesting and books, you're going to come across Helene Hadsell. And Helene wrote the book, The Name It and Claim It Game. Okay? Now, she wrote this originally back in 1971. And then in 1988, she republished it. This was the republished version, so I don't have the 1971 version. So in here, in the front, you can see it. She has Maneuvers for Wishcraft, which was a course she was teaching. Yes, Monica, I loved Helene's matter-of-fact approach. I think that's one of the reasons people really gravitated to her. And then this was the completely revised edition in 88. Now, she passed away in 2010. And in 2008, I was lucky enough to go and spend some time with her. 4 days with her. I was invited down. You better believe I cashed in all my air miles, and I rented a car because she lived in Alvarado, Texas, and on this lake, and I went. It was amazing. And she used to actually hold all her workshops there because she had this huge property, and she had things were, kind of let go at that point because she was in her 80s. But when it was full on, there was cabins for people to stay in. There was a huge, I don't want to call it a conference center because it really wasn't a conference center. It was a large meeting area and tables and shelves full of books and course materials and all kinds of stuff. She was really amazing. I can see why people would go and hang out with her for a few days and take her classes. So this book is really fascinating because she talked about SPEC, which is her kind of catch thing, which was select it, project it, expect it, collect it. Oh, I should go back. So she wrote this book in 71, revised in 88. It is no longer in print, and I am working with the estate of Helene Hadsell to see about republishing it and updating it and putting in a foreword and updating her author bio, all kinds of stuff, and just anything that's kind of been modernized since 88. So just maybe make anecdotes in there for people to, so things that she would have said that would have been appropriate at the time, you know, kind of move them forward to 2020, which is probably when it would come out if it did. So I would like all your, since this is a Good Vibration Sweepstakes Club, and one of the things we can ask for is fairy dust, I would like all your vibes to come my way, that this would be a done deal, because I would love to republish her book, because this information can't be lost. And that's one of the reasons I'm doing this. We cannot lose this information. And I would see about doing it in 3 formats. Print, softcover, like my own books, which of course, why I don't have one up here of my own book, I don't know. Ebook, because how many of us read on Kindles and iPads and on our phones and whatnot. And then possibly my very first audiobook. I was thinking about that today, that maybe it would be time to do an audiobook. My book isn't really conducive to an audiobook because it's step-by-step teaching, and a lot of it's actually visual. It's better suited to when I teach online and to give a class, but this may lend itself to be an audiobook. Now, of course, it wouldn't be in her voice, but it would be in my voice with her words, so I think that would be really awesome. Yes, thank you, Monica. I agree. It would be awesome. So it's not a fluffy little book. I mean, it's quite thick. I mean, the print's a bit big, and but it's, you know, it's 250 pages, so it's got some real good meat in here, I would say. And as this is my only copy, I'm trying to get the original kind of print so I could actually re-put in the images. But if I have to, I will destroy my only copy so that I can keep it as close to her formatting as possible. I may change the sizing to make it more conducive to mailing, because the print is fairly large, and if I could shrink it a bit, maybe change the size. I did that with my own book. I figured out the best size to go through the mail slot in a padded envelope to keep the cost of shipping down, to make it more affordable for people. Not just a pretty face. So I would be doing the same thing with this, but I do love the drawings. So if I can't get a hold of the original digital, I will pull this book apart, scan every image, and recreate it in, so it's as close to the original as possible, you know, and laid out just as nice. So she talks about, this kind of covers the hobby and her adventures with it, and then how she uses S.P.E.C, which she in here, I think it's in 121. Let me just open it for you guys here. Where does she call it? I thought she had, like, literally wrote out S.P.E.C. She does have it in here, but I can't seem to, of course, find it. I should have marked it with a yellow tab. But she talks about everything about the name it and claim it game. All things come to he who waits. Now act surprised, then expect it. How to be successful without really trying. These are all kind of things she has. And sometimes, and there's some parts of it, like, for example, it's select it, project it, expect it, collect it. So I will give you a real life example for me for what happened this summer. So I decided that I really wanted to win one of the Pepsi grand prizes, and I was out there and I was contesting pin code hunting hard, and I was entering every code, and I was out there, hi Dawn, and I was out there and I was entering, you know, as much as I could. And every week I would make sure I got all my codes in, and I would try to put them in different times of the day to spread my, contest entries out through the entire entry period. And honestly, I was shocked that I didn't win the first week. And it turns out I wasn't the only one doing that. I don't know why in my own little world I thought I was the only one doing that. And the other thing is, Pepsi does not announce its winners. Honestly, I think it should, but it chooses not to, and that's their prerogative. It's their contest. I'm a big proponent of what I call back-end marketing, and I try and teach other, companies to do that, so people don't wonder. But anyway, so I had been doing this. Now, midway through their contest, they started another section to their promotion. So you could win instantly. You could win socks and t-shirts, hats, towels, bags, gift cards. And then halfway through the contest, they started introducing these Pepsi jackets. They were giving away one an hour. Oh, yeah, Dawn, thanks. I got that in 2012 when we were in Disney World. No, it wasn't a win. We took my daughter for her 10th birthday. And I couldn't resist it. And it actually says Mickey Mouse on the inside. And at the bottom, you can see him. It was like a doodle drawing of him. It's one of my favorites. And it always reminds me of that trip. I love getting things that I either use or I buy art. I try not to buy what I'll call tchotchkes, anything that collects dust. I don't have room or time for those things. So I had focused on, trying to win one of these jackets, and people were giving different suggestions. So I even started getting up in the middle of the night. Like, I'd set my alarm and I'd get up because you were only allowed 20 codes per person. And I sat up and I'm like entering one after another like a crazy person. And finally I hit one of the jackets. I was so excited. Now in the middle of the night, I'm looking at the sizing chart and I'm like, I have no idea what size to order. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I'm trying to measure myself with a ruler, not even a measuring tape, and try to guess. And finally I just said, okay, and I got a medium. I could not win another one. I was like so gunning to win another jacket. I could not do it. And I had been watching Ellen Watts videos on cosmic ordering. Everyone has their own take on the same system. There's nothing new under the sun. Excuse me. If you listen to, I was just watching on Netflix, Tony Robbins' I'm Not Your Guru, and he had a statement in there. I need to go back and record it because it is almost identical, different verbiage, but almost identical to Gary John Bishop in this book, Unfuck Yourself, which is you have the life you're willing to put up with, is what he says. And Tony Robbins said something very similar, just using different words. So there's nothing new under the sun. So Ellen Watts was saying, do some cosmic ordering, get in. She likes to do it in the shower because you can't really do anything else in the shower. You can only clean yourself. You're not multitasking. You're not, answering the phone and checking email and doing and making a list and 14 other things at once. Somebody's talking to you in the background. You're in there, you're by yourself. It's a bit zen. And that's when she puts in her orders. I would really like, what I'd really love is, and watch her videos. I'll post a link below. I know I'm talking about Helene, but I'll post a link below to Ellen Watts' videos. And actually, if you're part of the Good Vibration Sweepstakes Club, I posted every day for the first month of the club. I posted each one of her videos. So if you even just scroll back in the group, you can start seeing her videos. And I thought, okay, what I really wanted to win was another jacket. And then one of my friends messaged me and he said, did you win a jacket? I said, yeah, but I haven't opened it yet. I've been waiting to kind of do an unboxing videos. And he said, because he got a large. No, this is before it arrived. He got a large, and he said it was like an extra, extra large. And I'm like, oh no, that means I bought a medium, and it's going to be like an extra large or a large. It's going to be huge. It's not going to fit me. So the box arrived, and I didn't want to open it. I was like, oh no. this is horrible. So I thought, well, maybe I'll save it and I'll do an unboxing video. I'll wait and get another one, order small, and then I'll do a video. So now I'm like focused on, I need a small. Now I'm kind of hanging on to it tight, right? And what happens if I want to drink some water, but if I hold the water tight, what happens to the water? There's no water. So I was holding on to this idea of winning a small so tight that I did not win one other jacket. Did not win one other jacket. And I was so disappointed. Now, I had already put out to the universe, I want to win another jacket because I really wanted to order a small. Then the contest was over. I was like, oh well. Then I am going to be attending a convention in April in Michigan. That might change. I have to wait and see. I might have another conference, so I'm hoping the dates will go because I really want to go. But I'm donating all my extra prizes, so anything extra that I get from some of these ones with instant wins. So one of my contest buddies was telling me that his wife would occasionally throw something out, like not even donate it, like to Goodwill or something, but just get rid of it if they weren't going to use it. I'm like, oh, please, if there's anything you don't want, don't throw it away. I'm going to this conference. I'm making up gift bags. Please just give me whatever you want. It'll all go to a good home. It won't take up space in your house. So he said, no problem. So I met him for coffee, bought coffee, and he had ordered a medium jacket, and they had sent him a small. So it didn't fit him or anybody in the family, and he already had enough. He had won several jackets. He was not hanging on to it as tight as I was. And he gave me the small jacket. And I'm like, oh my God, there's my small jacket. So then I did the unboxing video with the medium. And no, sorry, finally the contest was over, so I did the unboxing video and I had the medium and it fit okay. It was a little bit big it fit okay in the body because I'm a little bit pear-shaped. So it fit good in the hips. But I have been on Weight Watchers. I've gone off of Weight Watchers. I need to get back on, WW, they rebranded. And I tried the small on. It's perfect. It's a little tight in the hips, which means, I need to get to my next goal. However, I had the small, so I said to him, did you want the medium? He said, oh no, we have enough. We're good. So just donate that one to the group. I was like flabbergasted. I was like, oh my gosh. So here I am. Once I had given up attachment, this is important. Once I had released attachment to the outcome of the prize, it showed up. So the minute I stopped holding tight and I just went, this is how things come in when you're expecting them, but you're trusting they will arrive. She has a whole chapter in this book. This is important on knowing. Here, I'm going to go to here. See, and I just passed this point and it's good. How to be, this is kind of my next book, How to Be a Winner in All Areas of Her Life. My next book is going to be called Winning is an Inside Job. And guess what? It's not just for contests. So she has, and then at the end she outlines how she enters step by step. She gets her 3x5s and she has mails-ins and things that nobody does anymore. Okay, so she has a whole chapter here called The Difference Between Desire and Knowing. So I think actually I'll read this out because this is just not the whole chapter. I think, let me just see. Okay, so it's like 2 or 3 pages. This is very important, so I'm going to read it to you. This is like a book club. It was Sunday, March 27th, when I spotted the full-page ad in the Dallas paper announcing that a local radio station, KLIF, and the local area Datsun dealers were giving away 12 Datsuns, 2 a week for the next 6 weeks. Oh my gosh, we need more promotions like that, eh? Aha, I thought, an opportunity to get my car. So she clearly on her list put car. And I'll show you her list after. Requirements for to register at a local dealer or mail in a card to the radio station. Rules stated there would be a drawing of all entries received. The radio personality, DJ to me, would make the calls and ask the question, what's your favorite radio station? Your answer to be a winner would be KLIF 1190 is my favorite radio station. A week after the close of the contest, the 12 winners would gather in a local showroom and there'd be drawing of keys to find out which Datsun you won. Would it be a Little Hustler or a B210 or an F10 sports wagon or a honeybee? A car called a honeybee. Oh my God, I love that. After reading the ad, I got so excited I didn't bother reading the rest of the paper at the time. Oh dear, I've done that before. It's caught me. If you know my sumo wrestling story, you'll know that that's what happens when you only scan the rules and not read them. I went to my desk immediately. The contest was to begin Monday, which was the very next day, so I wanted to get some entries in the first day because the chances would be better with fewer entries. In a contest where drawings are held over a period of time, it's best to get in on the first of it and then continue to send in one or more entries each day until your name's called. That advice still stands, even with online promotions. By 2 p.m. Sunday, I had mailed 4 cards. Copying a sample entry blank pictured in the ad, I used color poster board to cut out cards in the shape of a car pictured in the newspaper ad, and I spent time doing it, adding positive energy to my goal. I don't know if you're able to do that anymore. It takes a little effort on your part to set up the situation for yourself, but it's fun being creative. I ventured to say hundreds of thousands of people noticed the full page ad, and I'm sure many found it interesting and had a desire to win one of the cars. Some would put the ad aside to give it further study. Some would actually cut out the blank and mail it, which would be the first step. It takes one more step to be a winner. To picture yourself having the car or being in the car, or whatever your creative imagination comes up with. Monday morning, so now we can't always enter that way anymore because a lot of it's online. However, there's a lot more what they call CGM promotions coming out, like CGM, consumer generated media. So it's going back to the day where you had to come up with 25 words or less. So for example, one way you were going to get on the Bud Light cruise this year was you had to come up with something, I think, like creative with Bud Light. And the one that I saw posted, and I don't know if it was reposted by Bud Light or another contester, it was the Bud Knight. So some guy had taken all these Bud Light boxes and cut out like a knight's uniform and like fashioned a sword and a helmet and everything. Brilliant. So he put all his energy in that, and probably the whole time he was creating that costume, he was envisioning himself on this cruise. If the situation's going to be shorter, like a single entry blank, you don't have to like click right away. You can sit and Abraham Hicks says it takes 17 seconds for a rocket of desire to be executed. So you could think about it for a few minutes. Open all the tabs to the contest you want to enter and just visualize each prize. So here, let's go back to reading. Monday morning began fun and game time for me, waiting to get the phone call so I'd already be a car winner. So she's already expecting the phone call, right? She's already selected it. She wanted a car. She already projected it. So while she's doing her little cards, she's projecting herself in the car. Now it's Monday. She's expecting a phone call any minute. Fortunately, the station plays country and western, and I really dig it. I love her language. You really didn't have to listen to the radio all day. You simply had to answer correctly when they called in order not to goof. Now, you got to remember, these are the days before cell phones. So, you had to be near your phone or you weren't going to get that call. In order not to goof when they called, perhaps to forget to mention the 1190 and lose out, I placed a card beside the phone throughout the house. Each one said, when a DJ calls and asks you what your favorite radio station, this is what you answer exactly. KLIF 1190 is my favorite radio station. This was also for my husband's use in case they called when I was at home. Yes, how many of us have to train our partners to enter properly? About 2 o'clock on Monday, they announced the first winner, a girl in Dallas. 1 down, 11 to go. Which one will I be? I asked myself. Friday, they called a man in Fort Worth, and he gave the correct answer. In the meantime, I mailed 1 entry each day. I also made a trip to the Datsun dealer and looked at the cars. I also signed up and put my name in their hopper. The following week, I listened whenever I was home. I realized then they called people on Monday and Friday. Monday announced another winner. That left 9 cars. It was Friday, April 8th when I woke up and I knew I would win a car that day. This is important. At this point, let me define the difference between desire and knowing. Desire is excited anticipation. Knowing is calm assurance. Okay? For example, you are present at a drawing and your first 3 numbers are called. You feel like you're about to explode. The last number is called and you miss by 1 number. This is a desire feeling and very common. You have repressed energy and you are wanting it to happen. Unfortunately, there has not been enough energy projected to make it so at the time. When you know something, it is a different feeling. You have a calm, cool assurance. All anxiety is gone. It is already done. All that now remains is to experience the physical presentation. Being calm and cool when you collect is a good feeling. Become aware of this knowing feeling in all areas of your life, and you are well on your way to total eye-awareness. Okay, she writes it out. I want to see if I can hold this up to the camera. See, it's eye-awareness. It might be backwards because I'm using the front-facing camera. It's not negative to know you are not going to win something sometimes. It just lets you know that enough energy has not been projected to make it reality. You can play games and kid yourself by quitting your job because you have the desire to win a $100,000 prize. Until you know the difference between desire and knowing, don't be foolhardy. Keep your job, and one day you will know the difference with awareness. Okay, that was highly important. I hope you guys got that. So let me, and then, so let's see if she talks about the car anymore in here. Because she's talking about a friend who won a cruise. Okay, here we go. Okay, in contesting, it makes it doubly, so she kind of jumps around a little bit in the book. Projecting energy towards any goal with steady determination will eventually be fruitful. This applies to any situation. So this is good advice for any area of your life. In contesting, it makes it doubly exciting when you get the knowing feeling because it means you've succeeded in your project and it's time for making another goal. A wise man once said, the 3 things in life that make it worthwhile are to feel useful by doing something, to be loved by someone, and to have something to look forward to. Okay, so Monica says, so does she mean it happens or you can create this? Okay, I'm not sure when you posted that, so I'm assuming, okay, so I'll give you an example. Sometimes you know in advance. So, for example, years ago when I was married, there was a contest for Old Dutch chips, which, by the way, if you've never had them, they're very good. And you can win a trip to the Memorial Cup, which is kind of like the hockey league that's just below the NHL. And it's a big deal because hockey is huge in Canada. And you could enter online, and then there was a mail-in option. And I realized there was a mail-in option like the 3rd last day of the contest, which means, or the mail-in period. So I only had 2 days left, and then it was 1 per person. So I thought, okay, I could only get 4 entries in because I had me and my husband at the time. So that's 2 for him and 2 for me. So a total of 4 entries. So I, wrote out the little thing. I think there was an essay I had to write, stamped envelope. And I knew, I don't know how I knew, it was kind of like, that's your intuition. I knew we were going to win. I just knew it. And then, I don't know how many weeks later, I was driving to Toastmasters, and my ex calls me and says, "Oh my God, I just won the trip to the Memorial Cup." And I thought, yeah, I knew that. I just didn't know if it was going to be his or mine, but I knew we were going. And I was like, oh yeah, I knew that. I knew it before I even mailed in my entry, and I don't know how I knew that. So, what I had been asking myself is, how much energy did I put towards that got it? But I do know I didn't win a Pepsi prize because I was grasping onto it so hard that I didn't get it. I wasn't calm. I didn't have that calmness about me. And it was actually, I don't think it was the excited, like, 3 numbers. I was so excited and I missed out by 1 number. It's past that. It's like, oh no, like, I don't even know the word for it. I'll have to figure that out before I write this notes in the book. If anybody has any ideas, that's a good idea. So, this is where I think there's far more to this universe than we can fathom up here, and how some people find it easier to grasp some of these concepts, and how some people don't even acknowledge they exist. There's a book out there, and I need to find the name of it. It was about a woman who passed away. I closed my computer, so I'm not even going to Google it now. And I remember seeing her on, was she on Oprah? She passed away, and she went up to heaven, and she said she realized it was like looking at our life was like a flashlight. There's this massive picture, and our life here on earth is like the flashlight, so we're only seeing what is projected on the light hits from the flashlight, because it only will show so much area. But if you move the flashlight around, you get this huge picture. Oh, see, Monica says, I've had that feeling, but then doubts and sin. See, that's where we humans just muck up. We need to not do that. We have to trust, and it's the hardest thing to do. So, I must find that book. But after I finish this with Helene, I'm going to talk about this other book, and you'll see where the Silva Mind Control method comes in. Okay? So let me finish reading the story and we'll go back. So in contesting, it makes it doubly exciting when you get the knowing feeling, because it means you've succeeded in your project and it's time to make another goal. So that's what I had. Oh yeah, I read this part, but it's so good I'm going to read it again. A wise man once said, the 3 things in life that make it worthwhile are to feel useful by doing something, to be loved by someone, and to have something to look forward to. Prizes. It was shortly after 4 o'clock in the day, and I knew I was going to win my car. The phone rang, and it was my husband. He was fixing the plumbing at our rental house. He had broken a pipe and wanted me to go to the plumber for a fitting. I didn't want to go because I wanted to be home when the radio station called to tell me I was their 4th Datsun winner. I might call this a supreme test with self. I was so sure I'd win, I told myself they would only call after I got back home, since it would take less than a half hour. I left. It was Friday before Easter, and many of the shops closed early. I had to go from hardware store to hardware store. I finally found the fitting and took it to my husband. When I got back home, it was after 6. I turned on the radio, and the DJs just announced they now had the 4 winners and would call people again on Monday. I couldn't believe it. How did I miss it? I was so sure my knowing feeling was right. And the phone rang. It was my oldest son. He had an apartment on the other side of town and came over occasionally for a free meal or to check to see if there was any mail. "Hey, Mom, I won a Datsun about an hour ago," he calmly announced. He'd come by to check the mail. The phone rang. Somebody asked to speak to me. He told them I wasn't there, but could he help or take a message? "Why, yes, you can. What is your favorite radio station?" For a second, I was off guard, he told me. I then saw the card taped to the phone, and I knew what it was all about, so I answered. "KLIF 1190 is her favorite radio station. Your mom would be proud of you tonight. You just won her a new Datsun," he announced. Later, I heard the taped call when they played back the conversation with my son. Big question. Would I have won that Friday had my son not been there to answer the phone? As I listened the week earlier, several times they'd made calls and there was no answer. They drew another name. Was my son supposed to be there at the time I'd make it possible? I didn't have the answer. I just knew I would win that day. So I'll finish your story, but what's really interesting about that is nowadays that would never happen. If you're not there, they go on to the next person. They do it all the time on the radio here. They call it a name at a time. If you don't call back in the next 9 minutes, you're out. Now you text in, you hear a keyword, you text it in. If they phone you back, you're on the qualifier list. Rules have gotten very stringent. That her winning that in that way would not happen anymore. On the other hand, she would also have her cell phone with her, and she would have been able to answer because she probably would have taped that message to herself in the car. So, you know, things have changed, and in a way things don't. So Susan writes, "I won a few things I knew I would win if I entered because it was something I didn't want, but for someone who would love it." That sometimes works, but it also works in the converse. One time I won qualifying. Toronto has a soccer team called the Toronto FC, and they have something called BMO Field, which is the Bank of Montreal is the sponsor. So it's their initials are BMO, or BMO Field we call it, and it's huge, and the soccer fans are like crazy. It's like amazing to a game. So what happened was the 4 qualifiers went down, and I didn't realize what it was, but they had 4 prizes, and you had to kick a soccer ball all the way down this field and then turn around and kick it all the way back. I was like useless. Now, of course, for some reason that year, my daughter had won like 8 soccer balls. And of course, one of the prizes was a soccer ball, one was a signed jersey, one was something else, and one was a trip with the team. And of course, everybody wants a trip. So this one girl who was like gunning it, she's total crazy. She was up and down the field. I was like dead last. I was like the soccer mom, sad soccer mom. And then in order, you got to go and stand on a soccer, like an image of a soccer ball, and then afterwards we all flipped over our prize, see what we won. So the girl who like was back and forth first, she picked and she won the trip. She was like over the moon, which was probably perfect because she was such a big fan. They want people like that to win. What do you think I won? The soccer ball. It's like, are you kidding me? Seriously? The one thing? It's like, so I won the soccer. I ended up giving it to a friend of mine who's a crazy, loving soccer person. So anyway, what can I say? So there, it said no soccer balls. You're going to get searches for soccer balls. The universe doesn't hear no, not no. It just hears soccer balls. So I got what I didn't ask for because I was putting all my energy towards that and not the other thing. Okay, so let's go back. So she knew she was going to win her car, and it's very cool that her son was able to win it for her. When all 12 winners were drawn, we all gathered in the showroom to draw our keys to one of the 12 cars. There was no white car with blue upholstery. Oh, I guess earlier in the book she put out what she wanted to win. Instead, I won a blue Datsun pickup truck. That certainly was not the car I had projected. To me, that was not the true end result. I put an ad in the paper the following week and sold it. This win turned out to be money. Sure, I could have gone out and bought a car, the one I wanted with the money I received for selling the truck, but that's not the way I wanted it. There was still a white car with blue upholstery out there for me to win. The rest of that year, I won minor merchandising prizes and a number of cash prizes. Yes, enough to buy my car and take that trip to Hawaii. That wouldn't be fun though. I had the patience to continue to protect Enery until I got the phone call telling me of a Hawaiian trip, a car, or big money prize wins. Okay, so what I should tell you is at the beginning how she would select it. Here, I'll just show you. She would decide on her prizes. I used her method for goals this year. And she would write one word of whatever it was. Car, Hawaii. What else did she say she wanted? Or cash, right? So she wrote that amount. And she had one word to represent it. So it would just trigger her brain. And she put it on 3x5s and she'd tape them everywhere. In the kitchen, in the bathroom, in her car. So I put one on my bulletin board for this year. Now, I've only achieved, and these are business goals. So my first one was to get my silver designation in Toastmasters before they switched fully over to the new Pathways program. I got that. To become Facebook Blueprint certified, which I have failed dismally at working on that one. And I don't want to do my other business website until I have that. And reached 150 pounds. So I'm down to 155 because I started out at like 173, which is, so it's fantastic, but I've kind of fallen off the wagon a little bit, but I'm so close. Like really, it wouldn't, if I really focused on it, it wouldn't take me long to reach that goal. So she had those, and so she had those out there. So she was still projecting every day. So someone once said it takes patience, persistence, and postage to be a contest winner. So those are the 3 Ps that were big back in the day. It's a little different now. You still need patience and you still need persistence, but postage isn't a big one for contesting. You need to maybe have social media marketing. You know, you need to do your social media and you're online and listen to the radio and you need to know how to text. I agree with that statement, but I believe the thing that makes it happen is the energy you direct toward. Don't rely on luck. Luck is like a rubber crutch. It will let you down when you try to lean on it. That's what happened to Pepsi with me. Make it happen. Decide what you want. Help it along by giving it energy for your end result accomplishments. Entering contests is an excellent avenue to pursue because it offers the material things you should have been accustomed to a long time ago. Love that. That's just one little section of her book. Okay, now, where does this book come in? What's really amazing is Helene was Jose Silva's assistant. So this book came out, the original printing of this book was 1977. I don't know if that's yeah, I think that was the first printing. So this came out in 77. I could do some Googling and see, but I'll put some links in the things below. Oh, I wonder if she's in the acknowledgments. That's interesting. I'll have to look. So she was his assistant, and one of the things she did was she told me his story. Like, so he would teach these courses, and she was like his secretary, and so she knew this stuff. Oh, so this 77 might be just the soft cover, because it says, since the Silva Mind Control method was first published in a hardcover, over 1 million people, including top celebrities, have graduated from the mind control training to use their minds in a deeper and more effective level, even in their sleep. Based on the extraordinary 4-day course pioneered by Jose Silva, this life-transforming book shows how people have learned to overcome tension, bad habits, emotional insecurity, and even illnesses with the techniques of the mind control, and how with creative visualization they have mastered the ability to see what they desire and then make it happen. So Helene learned from Jose, okay, and then she put her own spin on it for contesting. Again, nothing is new under the sun, okay? So I actually need to reread this because I read it so long ago, I don't even remember. But she told me when she first started working for him and they were running a course, one of the questions she asked him was, how many people are you expecting to attend? Because, she needs to have workbooks printed and have enough chairs for everybody and supplies and name badges and the whole lot. When you're running an event, there's a lot of details. So he said, I don't know. She goes, no, I need a number. I've got to, do all this stuff. He said, well, 81. He just came out with a number. And so the course is about to start. Just everything's set up. He's at the podium. He's ready to start. He said, let's begin. And she said, wait, you can't start. He says, why? She says, there's only 80 people here. He says, what are you talking about? She said, you told me 81. We're missing a person. I guess in those days they didn't pre-register the way you would now, like on Eventbrite. And then right behind her, huffing and puffing, was this fella coming running in the room. Am I late? Am I late? Has it started yet? And she says, oh, perfect. You can start now. We have 81. I was like, wow. I know. Like, how crazy is that story? So, this is another book I highly recommend reading. And there's also been, and then in the, when was it? In the early 2010, no, before she died. So it would have been mid-2000s, aughts, I think they call them, in the mid-aughts. I think that's right. Or is the aughts the tens? Anyway, in the first decade before she passed. So I'm thinking somewhere in 08, 07, 08, somewhere in there. And they're huge now, so it's amazing. Mindvalley did a course with her and filmed her videos, and I can't find the videos anywhere, but someone else has posted them online. So I'll post links to those too underneath this, and when I do the blog post for this video with the update, and I'll put those in there for you to go and watch, so you can actually see Helene talk. I did some interviews with her years ago. I was a terrible interviewer, so I talk over her, and I just didn't do it with her. Oh, and Melinda says, I've watched Helene Hadsell YouTube interviews and I also listened to your podcast with her. Thanks. Don't be too harsh on me on that podcast. I was a terrible interviewer. So many people have said, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, I know I sucked, but she says some great things, so take it. And actually, off air, I asked her, because I wanted to come visit her, and I asked her if I could come visit her, and she said no. And then, I don't know, but a week later, she messages me and said, your guides are so loud. There's a surprise. My guides are loud. Of course they are. I get told when I do these little podcasts, I need to tone it down. They can hear me in the living room. It's like, why are you screaming at the phone? They don't, because I use my phone because it has the best camera. You don't need to scream at the phone. Anyway, she said, your guides are so loud. Come for a visit. I was like, okay. Again, there's more to this planet than we have any idea. So I hope that helps. That's just a good, I think, introduction to Helene and some of her stuff. And some, books you need to read. If you've got, and I think actually Jose has also passed away, but I believe his son is still teaching this course. So I'll post a bunch of links below and in my blog post and make it easy for you, because this is going to be on Facebook and it's going to be on YouTube. And so I'll put all the necessary information, but it's also late here, so I'll probably do it tomorrow. So just make sure you come back and look for the updates, because my brain works better in the morning than it does at night for things like this. So, and I want to make sure I get everything right for you guys. So you have that. So, where did we leave off? One, This is a recommended book, so if you belong to, you know, Amazon Prime or anything, see if you can, or not Prime, Kindle Unlimited, any of those services, see if you can read this book. This is highly recommended. I'm going to be rereading this because let's assume, because what did she say, knowing, this is a done deal, right? Didn't she just say that in the book? So let's say that I need to reread this before republishing this and get her information back out there, because I don't think this book has been in circulation for about, since she's passed away, or a bit before that. So let's get this back out there. So let's see. And you can read this in the meantime. And so send me fairy dust and energy that I can get it out there, because I would love that. And I'm going to update it. And in the meantime, also send me any questions and stuff, because I want to make sure that when I update her book that I update it, because see, clearly I could not change her wording for that knowing story because it's brilliant. But I'd also want to put in anecdotes. The worst author ever. Oh no, I shouldn't put that energy out there. That's what editors are for. So whatever I do, it'll be edited to be proper. Natalie, hey, hi. So Natalie, I'm just wrapping up, but if you missed it, this is going to be on demand for everybody, and then I'm going to be putting links in for everybody. And send me any questions you have. You can send them, either leave them as comments on any of the videos, or you can always email me at questions@contestqueen.com, and I will do my best to do that. So again, so here's what your homework is. You need to select it, project it, expect it, and then collect it without grasping, and make a list. And actually, this is a good time to decide what you want to win between now and December 31st, and what your goals are for 2020. What are your winning goals for 2020? So what do you want to win between now and the end of the year, and what do you want to win for 2020? And then start entering those ones first, because we only have so much time in the day to enter. Pick what you really want to win and focus on those ones, right? Don't waste your time. Like, she focused on a car, and the only thing she entered that Sunday afternoon was for that car. She wasn't entering for hundreds of other things like we can do now online. So, you know, if your number one thing to win is a car, then just focus on entering all the car contests. So that's your homework. And next month, I'll pick a different topic. And in the meantime, I'll answer any questions that you have on Helene. So enjoy. And and post what you win from this program. Select it, project it, expect it, collect it.